Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today is another episode of Similar Games, because I just noticed that these two games that I used to play when I was a kid are actually very similar to each other. And it's funny because they're actually on the same computer that I used to play them on, and that was the Commodore 64. Now the one game, Miner 2049er, is a little bit more well-known of a title. It's been on like Coleco, Atari, all different systems, all different computers. The other game, MrRobot and his Robot Factory, I'm not sure if that's been on any other system other than the Commodore 64. I've never seen any versions of it outside of that system. It might exist. There could be, there was a whole bunch of different computers at the time in the early 80s that kind of tried to compete with Commodore and others, Atari and all them. So it's very possible that this game did exist on other systems. I'm just not aware of it. And in fact, I don't even actually have a physical copy of it anymore, because if you know anything about these things, this is another one. This is Bop and Wrestle. this isn't the game. These discs are susceptible to being erased easily if you get them anywhere near a magnet. And what you would often forget is the disk drive for the Commodore 64. It has magnetic, I guess, it's got some kind of magnet in there or something. And oftentimes you would take a disk out of the disk drive and forget about that and drop it on top of the disk drive, just so you can grab another game. And when you did that, chances are you just erased everything on your disk. And that's what unfortunately happened with my copy of MrRobot and his Robot Factory, was it accidentally got dropped onto the disk drive and erased. And of course I couldn't find another copy of it anywhere. In fact, I think the copy I had was probably given to me from somebody else who made a copy of it for me, and I probably didn't know where I got it from. But anyways, thanks to the world of emulation, I can actually play it on my PC using the Commodore 64 emulator. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to compare Miner 2049er to MrRobot and his Robot Factory and see how they kind of match up and show off some of the differences and similarities. Okay, so we got MrRobot and his Robot Factory. So you've got a couple options here. You can do the factory. I don't know what the screen means. It didn't really do anything for me. This kind of just runs through all the different levels you can play on, and kind of shows you the different skills that you have to acquire to play this game. I haven't played this game in so long. Like, I played this when I was a kid, so coming back to this game, it's really challenging. Actually, there's a lot going on. So let's start a new game here. I hit F1. So this note there, this music note above my head, if I jump and grab that, all it does is turn the sound effects off. I don't know why they built something like that within the game. I've never seen that in any other game where you can actually grab an item and that turns off your sound effect. Kind of weird. So I'll just leave it on for now. Yeah. So what I'm doing is, these are kind of like these square thingies. They're kind of like power pellets from Pac-Man. When you grab them, you can kill those enemies, and that's those little flaming, bad-looking guys. I mean, your hero kind of looks weird. He's like this white, kind of like a cookie monster, a white cookie monster or something like that. I don't know. That's the way he looks like to me, anyways. I can tell he's probably he's supposed to be some kind of robot. His head almost looks more like a Pac-Man than a head of some sort. But maybe, they had to, like, cut back on some of the detail. I mean, there's so much going on in this game. I'm going to get that, I can kill this flame dude. I don't know the names of any of these enemies. I'm not too sure. And that's all there is to it. I mean, you just gotta kind of get your way through the level and eat up all these dots. Sort of like a Pac-Man and Donkey Kong mix. Which is why I kind of think it's comparing to Miner 2049er in a way. Miner 2049er has that same idea where you have to climb ladders, go up platforms. The thing about this game is it's taking me a while to learn how far this guy can fall before he dies. Like in a lot of games you can kind of know that they can only, jump one platform or two platform before they die. But in this one, it's kind of like you kind of gotta, like, he can fall this distance, and he's okay. But I've noticed that some other distances where I jump, he dies. So you gotta be careful. So I just gotta navigate my way through these, grab these pellets. It's kind of fun, little staircase there. See, you can fall to this length, and nothing's wrong. Well, moving on. Okay, so this level's a little more tricky now. If you notice these stairs, if that's what you want to call them, they're not really stairs. They're more like escalators. Like, they only go in one direction. So you cannot go down. You can only go up. And if you notice, the whole level is full of these escalator-type stairs. So you really have to think about your moves and where you want to go before you go there. As you can see, so I cannot just simply drop down here, oops, because I die. Let's try this approach. I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to jump over here and kill him. And I'm going to run and hopefully kill him. Okay, perfect. That was my plan. So it puts kind of like a barrier around you. A little bit different than Miner 2049er. Miner 2049er, when you grab the items, you can tell the difference between the enemies. They go from happy to miserable kind of look. So here I think I have to jump onto that escalator ladder. Yeah, that's what I have to do. And it's a lot of trial and error. You really gotta like know how this game works. How far you can jump, what you can land on, what goes up, what goes down. It's a lot of trial and error. It makes the game even more challenging. Where you can just simply fall from one platform to another. Okay, so I can't fall that far. I think I can fall this far, though. Let's give it a shot. Hey, I did it. Okay, now, I guess I can fall that far. Oh, nope. See? Trial and error. Can't fall. Oops. Okay, so kill this guy, grab that. Seems like some of those power pellet things are not really planned out properly. Whoa. Okay, so I just over jumped there. This guy has a very sensitive jump. You can only fall so far, you can only jump so far. That last power pellet really doesn't seem to do anything. Now I'm calling him power pellets because that's what I'm associating it with Pac-Man, but oh. As you can see, I'm not doing too well on this level. Oh! Yeah. So that's the end. Okay, well let's try the factory now. So I'm going to go to F5 because that's where you have to press. So you got all these options here. You can use these conveyor belts. They all go different directions and stuff like that. Up and down and all these different fun things you can throw in there. So let's take this basic piece here, which has got those little dots that you have to eat. And let's just make a whole floor of those. Then I got, this is the ladder, so I can create a ladder. Let's make this look kind of like a Donkey Kong level. That's what I used to do when I was a kid. I used to make almost like Donkey Kong looking levels. So I'd be able to go this way, and then I can grab more ladders. And I can make another platform. Start it wherever I want. Maybe even stop there. I have complete control over what I want to build. And grab some more. Let's just, whoop. I don't know if I can delete. Can I delete? Let's see if I can delete. I think I can. Yay. So now I can continue building. And then what I can do is I can add some things like bombs. They have bombs in this game. Essentially what this is when you stand on it, they start to ignite. So you really have to like be quick or else the thing will explode. And I can put, say, another level up here of stuff. And maybe another level here. And another level here. I mean, it's not exactly a Donkey Kong board at this point, but you know, you get the idea. I used to do that when I was a kid. Almost make it look like a full-on Donkey Kong board. It would be cool. You can add those things that turn the monsters into something you can actually kill. So you can put those wherever you want. You pretty much have free reign. You even have a little bouncy thing. You can put this here, and it makes the robot bounce. Put another one here. Can't remember what these do. Let's just put it there anyways. It's an R. Okay. And an A. And yeah. So now you can actually save it. Save it to your disk. You can play. You can test. Let's test it. So I'm right there. Oh, there's a mad little guy right there. Let's eat him. So I can go. Boing. Nothing wrong with that. Obviously, I'm just testing the level, so it doesn't seem to matter. But I mean, it's cool. It gives you this option to actually build a level up. Perhaps you can get your friend to play. It's just like when I was doing my review or my look at the Wrecking Crew game. I kind of mentioned this game. I couldn't remember the name of it when I was doing the review, so I actually had to do some digging, and I found it. Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun with this. Quite the different take from the, you know, Miner 2049er didn't have this option. Boom. Okay, so now we got Miner 2049er. Another game I played quite a bit when I was a kid. It's actually a pretty good game, and I've even played the ColecoVision version, which is very similar. I almost thought about that, you know, doing a similar, well, not a similar, but, you know, a comparison video. But the, whoops, that was a big jump. The Coleco version is almost the same. It's almost identical, so wasn't much to compare. The Atari 2600 version of Miner 2049er. Now that's something that's a problem, because the game speed is so slow. Incredibly slow. It's almost unplayable. It's kind of a shame, too. Because it doesn't look bad. But pretty much this game is, you just gotta hit every single square inch of the platform you're walking on. As you can see, every time I make my way through, I kind of fill it in with a solid gray. And as I get these items, I can... These little guys, see how he's a smiley guy and he turns into a little miserable critter. If I get this, I can run him over when he turns into a smiley guy and move on with my life. So now I can keep going and complete the level. You just gotta be careful with this game because you have to learn how high he can jump, how far he can jump, what platforms he can fall on, and the timing of these items that you get and how long they last, because they literally just turn right back into their miserable selves right away without any warning. It's not like there's any sound or they don't start to blink. Like you think when in, say, Donkey Kong, when you get the hammer in Donkey Kong, after a while, you know, it starts to blink or gives you some kind of a warning. I believe all of them do that. I don't know. Maybe some of them don't, but it usually gives you some kind of warning that the hammer is going to go away. In this, it doesn't. But on the same side, Pac-Man, when you get the power pellet, doesn't normally give you much of an indication that the power pellet's going to wear up. Oops. Keep jumping on this. This is like a snakes and ladders type of level. Ladders go up, and every time you hit that slide, you go down. It can be kind of annoying. You have to time your jumps properly. Like that. There we go. So now I have to be careful because I can't jump up, because if I hit that guy, miserable looking guy, I will die. So maybe I'll get the pickaxe down there. I mean, they all do the same thing. There's nothing different about them. All gives you that ability to destroy the enemies. After they're all gone, it doesn't seem to matter. They're just points from that point on. Uh-oh. I think I'm running out of time. I got 5 seconds. Oh, no, I jumped! Oh. That wasn't good. Try that again. Now that's the other thing that's kind of annoying about this game, is that every time you die, it resets. The other game that I'm talking about, comparing this to, MrRobot, is the same thing. If you get all the way up to the end, and you only have one more spot to get, and then die, well, you start all over again. Could be annoying to most people, but that's just the way they decided to program the game. You just gotta learn his jump time. And I find that that's weird, because he's got a really weird, long jump, if you notice that. Nothing like Mario. Nothing at all. Oh, okay. I have to be vigilant about the time on this game. Like, look, 16 seconds to go. You don't have a lot of time in this game. Like, you really have to hurry it up. They're not fooling around when they come with the timing on this one. There we go. Now, this third level is kind of unique because it has this elevator. So you notice there, I go to the elevator, I wait, hit the button when it lights up on the floor, then I appear on that floor. Kind of cool. I don't think MrRobot has anything like that. So that's definitely a plus with this game, to have these interesting features like that. I just feel like the time is very limited. I mean, you really have to hurry. You don't have time to think. Where kind of memorizing these boards help. I'm going to go 3 here. I don't know what this thing is. Some of these items don't make any sense. You have to wait for the elevators. It kind of reminds me of Keystone Capers with the elevators in that game. You have to wait for the floor. It doesn't just automatically show up on the floor you want. I mean, this game itself, like, the pacing of this game is pretty slow. So, the Atari being so much slower makes it really painful. I mean, it's almost unplayable in my opinion. Like, I've tried it, I've given it so many chances, and I just get fed up. I'm like, really? Why would they make it so slow? Perhaps it was the limitations of the programming of the day, I don't know. Maybe they just couldn't. But it makes you wonder why, you know, if it was just not possible, why even try? Like, why put out a bad game if it's physically not possible to actually make it proper? This one I remember because you kind of have to know where or how far you can jump before you die, or even fall. I don't think I can fall that far. And you can't, if I jump up and hit that, like touch that guy with my head, I'll die. So you have to be careful. I don't know how I'm going to get down here. But at the same time, you can also kill them. I mean, that could be a strategy too. You could focus on just getting rid of them. But you really have to know how far, how far you can fall before you actually... I don't think I can fall that far. Oh, you did. Okay, good. Yay! And this is pretty much the game. I mean, it goes on, much like MrRobot. There's all these different challenges that you can go through. Game over. So yeah, I mean, you could see the differences there, and you could see the similarities. Obviously, the Mr. Robot, it was more like collecting the little power pellet type of things, whereas Miner 2049er, you're just creating that solid block underneath you. But the idea was the same. You had to run over a certain space, and just clear an entire area, and then move up the ladder and avoid the enemies. The enemies were slightly different. Obviously, the enemies in Mr. Robot seemed a little bit more simplified. They look like more of the fireballs you would expect from like Donkey Kong. I don't think they put a lot of work into creating the enemies to be any different. You notice in Miner 2049 where the enemies changed. They'd go from this miserable looking guy to this happy little fella, and when that happened, you could run them over. With Mr. Robot, you needed this weird shield that would surround you, and that would allow you to literally run these things over. I found, though, I mean, the challenges with the Mr. Robot is there's so many different kinds of platforms that you just got to get used to, like the moving platforms and the stairs that only go up versus the stairs that only go down, and it almost felt more of a puzzle. Like you really had to like plan out your moves, where you're going to go. The bombs that you ran on, which I thought was a nice touch. You run on a bomb. I mean, they're similar to that in Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario 3 and stuff, where Mario runs on things that will eventually fall. It's that kind of idea. And Miner 2049er was a little bit more simplified. But like I said, I think Miner 2049er is a little bit more of a popular game. More people were aware of it, and it was just ported to more systems. I believe there's also a Miner 2049er too, but I think it's a little bit more rare. And I don't know what systems it's on. I have no idea about it. I never actually looked into it too much, but I had a lot of fun on Miner 2049er on my Commodore 64. Now, it's a shame that they made one for the Atari 2600, but it's almost unplayable. I mean, he moves so slow, and I've tried to play it, and I get fed up because it just takes forever just to get to the top of the screen, and if you die, you got to start all over again. But the Commodore 64 version, the Coleco version, are great actual ports of the game. As far as Mr. Robot, I enjoyed it. I liked the factory building part. I think that was probably the one part of the game that I liked the most, was building my own boards. And I think what got me thinking of this game was when I talked about this one, Wrecking Crew, on the Nintendo. I just did this video, and it's got a level builder in there. And I was trying to remember what the game I used to play on the Commodore that reminded me of it, and it was Mr. Robot. So, it's funny how me talking about this game kind of brought up memories of another game. I guess that happens a lot to people. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you ever seen Mr. Robot? Have you ever played it? Are you a fan of Miner 2049er? Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk about it. And hope you liked the video. Hope you subscribe to my channel. Talk to you later.